Anyway, this week I wanted to talk about your favorite albums of 2023. I didn't mention this to you last week, but I'm including December of last year just because we're not even through December of this year. So, did you have like a list or a group of albums that you wanted to talk about? Your top 10 albums?
Uh, yeah, I had a group kind of list thing. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't really put it all the way together because I had a bunch of albums, but I would say one of the ones I would have at that bottom of the top 10, Afterlife by Yeet. I feel like rap has been going in this certain way, and Yeet is one of those people making some of my favorite music that is on that certain wave of rap. I also feel like one of the things that drew me into Yeet was that he's similar to Young Thug in that he uses his voice a lot as the instrument in his songs. Like I noticed that a lot with this new album. Like it seemed like he was testing a lot of stuff. So definitely that one's up there. Set It Off by Offset. This one made it in my top 10 like later in the year. Obviously he dropped it later in the year, but it was just a crazy outputting. I remember that first Offset album we got that was just him. I didn't really like it. I wasn't a fan of it, but this one it felt like kind of the same thing as he, like he was trying a lot of stuff. He felt like he was really in his bag during this, and that's definitely another one. I'd put Black's album on there since I have a lover. Some of these are just personal to me. I don't know if I'd put them as like the best albums of the year, but I still think this album, quality wise, up there, and it had a lot of good songs on it that I still listen to. Number 7 for me is Rod Wave's album. You know what's funny,
Okay.
bro? I like when I first heard it, I was not messing with Rod's album like at all. Like I sat there and listened to it with a girl. We had a little wine night, whatever, but I still wasn't hearing a lot of songs that I was like, oh yeah, this is it. But then I feel like it just progressively got better as I heard it more. So that's up there for me. And then They Pray for Me by West Side. I feel like underground wise, Griselda's been running it for years, and out of all of the albums I heard from Griselda this year, this is probably my favorite one. Like he had a lot of good features on here. You don't hear a lot of like good West Side verses. I feel like he's more of the composer, producer part. Like he doesn't do as much. He does the art parts of it, not as much the rapping. But this one, it felt like he had a lot more verses on here. Mike Towers album, La Vida es Una. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. But that one has absolute slaps on it to me.
That one almost made it in for me. It was close.
Bro, it has so many songs that I just had on repeat and just didn't stop listening to. Like I feel like that one is up there, and it was hard for me to not have it at damn near number 2 because that's how much I listened to it this year. But A Gift and a Curse by Gunna. We're gonna talk about Gunna a little later, but I do
Yeah.
feel like Gunna had a top 5 rap album of this year. I feel like as far as like the support he had coming behind it, which was basically none, and what he put out from like his current situation was crazy to me. So that's definitely up there. Adekunle Gold's album is up there. I think I'm at 7. So if I go over it, just let me know.
No, you're
But
good.
Adekunle Gold's album is definitely up there for me. I feel like this is the same thing as Mike Towers. Like it doesn't have a lot of songs where I was sitting there skipping. It has a lot of stuff that I can go back to, and a lot of stuff that I feel like is gonna sound good 5, 10 years from now. Like honestly. Um, some other ones I probably mention, Glaucoma 2 by, uh, this isn't like top of the list, but these are just other albums. Glaucoma 2 by Key Glock, definitely up there. Saw him live. Never Enough by Daniel Caesar.
That
That
was a
one's
good
definitely
album.
up
That
there.
was a fire album.
Dude, I had to. When I was making my list, I went back and I listened to that one specifically because I was like, I feel like I didn't give this its just due, just because Valentina, one of my favorite songs to come out this year, and I think that was something I should definitely mention. And then just last two, I want to say something about Mick Jenkins, The Patience.
Yeah.
This album was crazy to me, definitely up there for me. And then Jackman, like I didn't say Gun
Yeah.
Jackman was kind of like Rod Wave's album to me. Didn't really like grab onto it, cling onto it at first, but then as I listen to it more, I definitely mess with it. But those would probably be some of my top albums from this year. So
That's fire. You had a good range in there. You had way more rap than I did. I had some rap in there, but not too much, if I'm being honest. Um, let me look at this list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I
6.
would also like to say while he's doing this, there is some stuff that I know for a fact AJ is gonna mention that I left out. So there's probably some albums in there that I really really like. So we'll hear what he
Okay,
has to say.
I have the reason I said we include in December is. Ooh, can you um can you mute for 1 second?
What am I muting my mic?
Yeah, just because of the echoes.
Um,
Okay, cool. Just 1 second. This isn't gonna take too long. But yeah, the reason I said we include December is because I had 3 albums that dropped in December of last year that I count this year. And it was an interesting year for sure. I have no uh this is in no order. I have a couple favorites, but this is no order. So I had Data by Tiny, which is probably my favorite Spanish album of the year. Really Her by Bia. Um, I count the deluxe and the regular one as a full album, and so that was one of my favorite rap albums of the year. Um, she definitely stepped it up from last year, so that's one of my favorites. I Told Them by Burna Boy. That one gets better every time I listen to it. I didn't really fuck with it when it initially came out, but as time goes on, it gets better. The Great Escape by Larry June. That was a fire one. I remember when we did like halfway through the year or starting the pod when we did like our favorite album so far. That was one of the albums that was on there for me, and it's still on there. I still listen to it a lot. Beautiful and Brutal Yard by Jay Hus. I didn't think cohesively it's as good of an album as his last project, but in my wrap up, my year in wrap up, like half of the album was in my top 100 songs. And so when I went back and looked at like the singles or the songs individually, I did fuck with it. Solace by Uncle Waffles, that is probably my favorite. That's my favorite on my piano project that came out this year. When I work, I throw on my piano now, and it just helps me more than anything else. Amu Kelani by Kelvin Momo, which is another on my piano project. I mentioned that the last time we did like the top albums, but still to this day is in rotation. And then I put No Thank You by Little Sims. That came out in December of last year. That project is it's 10 songs, but it's like no skips, all bangers. And then the last two I had were Emeka Must Shine by Black Bones. That was the most recent album on this list that came out. I was debating like if I really wanted to throw it in here, but I fucked with it heavy. And then finally I had More Love Less Ego by Wizkid. That probably is my number one album of 2023, even though it came out in 2022. So I had a couple honorable mentions, and then I want to know what you thought. But I had Unruly by Olamide, which came out mid year. That album is actually really good. I had Santiago by Russ, Fountain Baby by Amare, Izioku. I think I might have pronounced that wrong, but Odumodu Blocks album. That one was really good. And then Dirt and the Diamonds by George was a really good rap project. I still want to talk to you at some point, George. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions. But yeah, More Love Less Ego was probably the one for me, if I'm being honest.
okay, I'm surprised you didn't mention Benson's album. That was kind of crazy to me.
You
I'm
know
surprised
what?
you didn't say anything about that.
You know what? I was thinking about that on the drive over here. Like cohesively, it wasn't the best project to me. You know, it had good songs on it, and I think as time goes on, like all his other stuff, it'll grow on me. Pause. But right now, it wasn't better than those 10 albums. If I'm being honest,
What about Ashake's album?
that one too. That one wasn't. I liked his first project more than his
Really?
second project. Did you?
Okay, I can
Did you
see that.
like which one did you like more, the first or the second?
I feel like I was exposed to the second one more. I feel like the
Okay.
first one I have my favorites off there, like Sumba and there was another song. I think there was one on there with Olamide too. But I definitely was exposed to the second one more. The second one I heard it while we were on the drive back from the it was the hotel to the airport in Jamaica. and it was the long bus ride, and I had to
Oh
download the
yeah,
album, so I just literally just listened to it straight, and I was sitting there like, man, this is crazy. Like this album is
yeah.
insane. But
It's good. It's good, but the first
I'm
project,
looking at the wrong camera.
no, it's good. The first project when I heard it, it was right when I found out what I'm a piano was, and the log drum. Like the log drum is, bro. The log drum is such a crazy instrument when it comes to music, and so like sitting there listening to the first project and him like floating over those beats, bro. Like Joanna, Peace Be Unto You. What else was in there? There was so many Zumba. It was so many songs. Like it's a 30-minute album and it's just bangers, bro. I throw that on when I go to the gym and I need energy, bro. Those drums do something for me. But yeah, the second project wasn't better than the first to me. He went in a different direction. So maybe not better or worse, but it just wasn't, it didn't hit like that to me.
I understand that. I would say that Russ album too is one I almost forgot about. Like I
Yeah.
still listen to "I Love You Boy" is probably one of my favorite songs of the year. That song is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There was one single on there that I really fucked with. I forget. Enough. Was it
Yeah,
Enough?
that one was
Yeah.
fire too.
Yeah, that one's that shit. But I think this year honestly has been pretty good for music. If we're being, this year is good for music if you're not just a rap fan. Even if you're just a rap fan, there was good rap that came out. You know what I'm saying? Um, Looking at my list, it was a lot more rounded out than I initially thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be all Afro beats, but it was a ton in here that we honestly got to. Fountain Baby by Amaray was something I forgot even dropped. Like when I was going back, I was like, yo, this shit was fire when it came out. It was just there's just so much music. You can't listen to everything all the time. So I bet you if I listened to that more, it probably would have beat out another album for my top 10. Now that I'm looking at it.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
But yes, we'll see. I wonder, do you think anything that's gonna come out in December or that has already come out could potentially like looking back in a month or two could like, oh yeah, this was it? Because I don't want to talk about Nicki's album just yet because I haven't had time to really sit with it, but she got some features on there and some songs sounded pretty good, so I'm wondering if that might end up being a late entry.
It might be. I mean, it has some good songs on it. I mean, we're not gonna talk about it heavy, but there was some. She had a Skilly Bang and a Skang song on there. She had a song with Drake, of course. She had a song with Future that was pretty good, but I don't know. I didn't think there was that much crazy stuff on it. Maybe I gotta listen to it more because I feel like in Nicki's old albums, I would always have to go back to because when you first hear, you're hearing the poppy stuff, you're hearing the girl rap, the pussy rap stuff, like all that stuff. You're not hearing
Yeah,
the actual bars like the Chun Li's and the like just every Nicki song where she's sitting there actually barring you down. Like I feel
yeah,
like you're not gonna get that from Jump, but.
yeah. We'll see, but I was just interested to see if you thought anything of that. One thing I definitely thought we was gonna get a Cardi album, bro.
Yeah,
Cardi B, not Playboy Cardi, Cardi B. But we
yeah.
didn't. Anyway,